Jackson Podcast.
What's popping with y'all today, man? You know, this content that I'm about to talk about, I got it from a YouTuber. You know, he's a great guy. That's what I'm gonna say. We supposed to be collaborating on some things, and he gave me a lot of game to help me elevate my channel also. King Benny Garcia. In the description, a link to his show will be there. I initially met King Benny on the 3500 show. I ain't seen them boys live in a while, neither. It's two guys, one from California, one from Toronto. I can't remember where Benny's originally from. I think he's from Canada also, somewhere in Canada. But he has great content. He's a young content creator, and he has a hell of a lot of dope discussions, and he talks about hip hop in a lot of ways that I can relate to his stuff, man, and I'm thankful for his platform. But this episode really caught my attention because he said the Trump era made hip hop important again. You know, I changed it up a little bit to put my swag on it, make hip hop great again because, you know, the MAGA and all that old type stuff though. But this was an interesting piece, and I wanted to bring it to my platform and share it with you guys, man. But make sure you check out King Benny's platform, where it originated from, and tell him Trevor sent you, man. Tell him Trevor sent you when you go link up with him. Let's get to it.
Moment. We can now project the winner of the presidential race. CNN projects Donald Trump wins the presidency.
It's November 8th of 2016, and after 8 years of Barack Obama presidency, the people of America had elected Donald J. Trump as their president for the next 4 years. For many, Donald Trump's presidency gave them not just an identity for which to die for, but a purpose. For others, the 4 years that would follow seemed like an eternal doom that would send the country back for decades. But for hip-hop, Donald Trump's presidency created a revolution. Not only did it create great music and great moments, but it also saw hip-hop rise to a level of popularity that had never been seen before.
This is America.
But to make things clear before we continue, this is not a video of me endorsing Donald Trump, just putting it out there because I'd rather just not deal with that right now. And just so you don't think that this is a video that is doing that, let's talk about YG.
Fuck Donald Trump. Yeah, nigga, fuck Donald Trump.
Even though YG is a popular name within hip-hop, he isn't the most commercially or critically acclaimed rapper, but he is one of the more significant rappers of the 2010s in a weird way. And funny enough, it isn't because of his popularity that YG is so important, it's because of his influence. And to best understand the influence of YG, 3 words come to mind.
Fuck Donald Trump.
It may not seem like a big deal now, but I would consider FDT one of the more important songs in hip-hop of the last decade. Mainly because this song marks a shift in how hip-hop views Donald Trump. Because it is important to understand that before Trump's bid for president, Donald Trump was an icon in hip-hop. Not necessarily for who he was as a person, but what he represented.
Money, 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 money.
For as long as Donald Trump had been in the public eye, Trump had been the image of wealth. And if there's one thing that hip-hop loves, it's the image of wealth. From Slick Rick to Jay-Z to in more recent time, rappers like Lil Baby, Drake, and really any rapper, the image of having wealth is very important to a rapper. The rapper's ultimate goal, after all, is to get rich or die trying. And for those who do get rich, the shame, the watch, the money spread is essentially equal to a championship in sports. You're not supposed to be here, and the fact that you are here is worth celebrating. Naturally, however, this means that a lot of rappers compared themselves to rich people, and there was no rich person that was as famous for being rich as Donald Trump. And the Donald Trump shoutouts range from rappers like Lil Wayne,
Next time you see me, I have money like Donald Trump.
Nelly,
It's Donald Trump, let me.
and surprise, surprise, Kanye West. Now, people say this is a shout out, but it honestly reads as a diss, right? Anyways, even up till 2015, it was still acceptable to compare yourself to Donald Trump. For reference, Ray Shremmer did have a song called Up Like Trump. But as Trump's presidential campaign started taking place, a rapper like Rick Ross would go from saying this in 2010 to this in 2015.
Assassinate like I'm Zimmerman.
But for what my money is worth, the moment where hip-hop's distaste for Donald Trump became clear was with the release of Fuck Donald Trump by YG. I'm not saying that YG made it cool for people to hate Trump, but it's when it became transparent that hip-hop was on that side of the fence, in what would essentially start a renaissance era for the hip-hop protest song. But before we get into that, I haven't made a video in like 3 months, so YouTube will not push this video out. If you want YouTube to push this video out, I'm gonna need your help by subscribing, commenting, liking, you know, all that. I'm not begging for it, but I would really appreciate it. Let me get back.
I want to give a take before I let Benny cook again. And you see, he told y'all to subscribe to his channel. Dope content, like nobody else. He's originally himself, though. But I want to say something that when did you know? He is basically specifically saying that that song started the shift, because in hip hop, people do celebrate folks that's financially rich, and you don't have to have morals. You don't have to be a person of integrity. You don't have to do anything but just have a bag and have the things that people want. It's funny to me to see like the shift in the celebration of Trump. What did he do? What did people disagree with that they agreed with at first? I feel as if, you know, Trump has done some crazy things, but as the leader of the United States, I'm a person that I may not have voted for Trump. I didn't vote for Kamala. I'm an independent individual. And when I do vote, I vote for tangibles. And if they're looking out for the best interests of my people. So I didn't vote, period, this election. So I may be part of the problem. But at the end of the day, I feel as if, why did people switch on Trump the way that they did? Because now that he's in office, I'm in full support of him succeeding, because I want to see the success of the United States continue to go. But let's get back to Benny's conversation, and I'll chop it up with y'all after he says something else significant. Let's do it.
Back to the video. Now, obviously, protest songs are like normal in hip hop. Just in 2015, All Right became like the biggest protest song that hip hop has really ever seen. But in 2016, YG was the leading force in making the Trump protest song a thing. And despite the fact that Donald Trump was the president by the end of 2016, hip hop's hate for Donald Trump was at an all-time high. And just so you can get an idea for it, here's a graph from ESPN's political website 538 breaking down the ratio of positive to negative Trump bars. And take a look at that spike heading into 2016. And more considerably, look at the drop in terms of positive Donald Trump bars. And it wasn't just a trend, because as hip hop headed into 2017, hip hop made it clear that it was not gonna stay silent. A rapper like Jay-Z went from rapping about paintings and being rich and Magna Carta Holy Grail to rapping about the story of OJ in 444. And even rappers that you wouldn't expect to be political or have political takes were having political takes. Kodak Black, for example. The Tunnel Vision music video was a black man actively being killed by a man with a Make America Hate Again hat. Then there's people that should go without mentioning, like Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole and Lupe Fiasco, who obviously made comments on the president on and off the mic. But one of the biggest benefactors of the new political landscape was none other than Logic. And let me explain. I mean, think about it like this. In what other time could a man proudly say that he's biracial and not only thrive, but use it as an advantage? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm the friend that's too woke right now, but Logic looks white but is actually black, and I feel like that should have helped him play both sides of the fence, and it did help him play both sides of the fence. Maybe I'm crazy, but that's my hot take for the video. But also, another hot take, I'm not saying that people aren't depressed when Donald Trump wasn't president, because obviously depression has been a thing since before Trump and since before presidents were a thing. But I do believe that the political landscape of 2017 helped contribute to a song like 1-800 becoming as big as it is. However, I do recognize that that is a little bit of a stretch, so let's focus on people that were actually saying things about the political landscape in 2017 with the three.
Benny, if you watching this video, man, I never heard a Logic song. You gotta put me on, dog. What should I listen to from Logic? What's fire? Because, you know, I don't think he speaks to me or speaks to the southeastern part of the United States. I don't know too many people that rock with Logic like that. I never even heard nobody bumping Logic. America is a strange place because a lot of these people become celebrities and hip hop artists, and the other side of the world are, the other countries and things think that these people are like really significant to the everyday life in America, and you'll never hear nobody bumping them ever. So sometimes I be feeling like the record labels and the music industry forces these people into the limelight to make you think that they celebrities, but they really not having no impact in the real world. Let me let the video go and let Benny keep cooking because he cooking.
Biggest examples being Joey Badass for All American Badass, Eminem for Revival for as bad as that was, and Joyner Lucas for I'm Not Racist.
In the land of the free is full of freeloaders.
I'll start with the man of the hour and Joey Badass first. Unsurprisingly, the guy who's best friends with capital C's had some things to say about the Trump presidency.
It's just the way I feel.
His protest album, All American Badass, is a classic and Joey's most commercially successful record, and a great album if you ask me. I think it held up even when Trump wasn't in office, but now that Trump is back in office, it holds up even more. The same can't be said for Eminem's Revival. It's kind of the forgotten album in the Eminem discography, with Kamikaze coming along a few months afterwards to kind of wipe away the legacy that Revival had. But it wasn't just Revival. Eminem also did this.
That. This is for Colin. Ball up a fist. And keep that shit balled. Like Donald the bitch.
Which personally I think holds up way better than Revival did. But if you're gonna ask anybody about a political rap song in 2017, chances are they'll reply with I'm Not Racist.
I'm not racist.
This was a song that took Joyner Lucas from a borderline underground rapper to a mainstream, almost household name. The song looked at the current political landscape from the perspective of a Trump fan and then from the perspective of a black man, with the song ending and both coming to an understanding, the black guy and the Trump guy hugging. And as we headed into 2018, it became really clear that people were sick of Trump because Fortnite blew up. Shout out to Fortnite, man. Like, oh shit, it might be the greatest game of all time. Now, seriously, this is America. And before you say hip hop and politics have always been a thing, let me stop you in saying I agree. But quickly, name your favorite protest hip hop song before 2016. Is it Fight the Power? Is it The Message? I hope it's not Bombs Over Baghdad because that one isn't a political song. Maybe it's alright. Regardless of what song you pick, odds are it didn't even land in the Billboard Hot 100, and if it did, it never scratched the top 40. But you know what did?
This is America.
I mean this with no exaggeration. For like 2 weeks in 2018, Childish Gambino was bigger than Drake and Taylor Swift combined. And it's gonna sound crazy if you weren't around or you weren't paying attention in 2018, but This Is America was like the biggest song ever created for like 2 weeks. This guy was bigger than Michael Jackson. And what I mean when I say that Trump created a renaissance for political hip hop, this is what I mean. In no other circumstance, in no other presidency, in no other political landscape would a song like This Is America blow up to the point that it did and become the instant classic that it became for those 2 weeks in 2018. And I know this sounds crazy, but look up reaction videos in 2018. Maybe you've forgotten, but I promise you, Childish Gambino was Michael Jackson for like at least a week in 2018. It was like Childish Gambino, Fortnite, and then Ninja Blevins. Anyways.
Benny, you gotta relax with the Michael Jackson comparisons, big dog. You gotta relax. And I know you wasn't alive during that time, so you didn't get to experience that, but you gotta relax. That's the biggest ever. Drake don't even compare. I know you from Canada and all of that now. But Drake don't compare to MJ, fam. MJ was a totally different thing, though. But I want to react to what you said about Joey Badass and his song. To me, the biggest song was the Childish Gambino song that was a protest song. It was one of the most important. And the Kendrick Lamar, We're Gonna Be All Right, around the time when it was released, it was very important because I think that was like, when was that, 2019, 2020, around the George Floyd era? Or it may have been revitalized because of the George Floyd situation. Might have been released before that. But the Joey Badass situation with him dissing Trump or whatever, to me, Joey Badass should have dissed Biden more than he was focusing on Trump. I know it's popular to diss Trump, so you'll get into the algorithm and you'll have people support you because for some reason people in America dislike Trump a lot though. But if you think about New York City, whose presidency impact his city the most, it was Biden because the immigrants and the migrants took over New York City. Some people may think that that is something that I shouldn't be concerned with or whatever, and it doesn't impact me or whatever though. But to me, the migrants and people that's not from America got to realize that America is a country of rules, laws, and regulations. And that's for the people that's from here. So if you are immigrant or whatever and you come in here and you're not abiding by the rules, laws, and regulations, then that's a problem because you're making it a lawless country. So Joey Badass should have spoke about Biden to me more than he was concerned about Donald Trump. Let me let you keep cooking, big dog. This is a dope episode, man.
I would be remiss to say that by 2018, there was a pretty vocal Trump supporter within hip hop. None other than Kanye West. Mr. Donald Trump is taking money from y'all. Started wearing a MAGA hat as fashion statement. And, you know, I've learned, considering what Kanye has become in the last couple of years, that I don't have to dignify everybody's political opinion. And even though, like, in 2018, I would have, like, addressed, like, all the details of, like, what Kanye was saying and, like, present them with respect and whatnot, I just can't anymore. And it's fine because by 2019 there was kind of an optimism in the air that kind of made those Trump protest songs go away. Like right now, the only song I can think about in 2019 that was semi-political, if you consider that political, is Taylor Swift, You Need to Calm Down. And even that sounded very happy for what it was. And I think that's why, like, people remember 2019 with this nostalgia. It's not about just like COVID happening the year after. It's because a lot of the music was happy. People were happy until they weren't.
I had no idea that it would be this soon. He has just tweeted within the past 2 minutes that the NBA is suspending the season.
This is more serious than I thought it was.
March 11th, we knew that the WHO were going to call it a pandemic.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Today, just a few blocks away, there was looting underway nearby. Police seem to have had enough.
This is Lil Baby's The Bigger Picture, a song that is not only Lil Baby's most critically acclaimed song, but also his most popular as a solo artist. Again, never before had a rapper like Lil Baby made a political rap song that not only charted, but became his biggest hit as a solo artist. Think about it like this. Lil Baby's highest charting hit as a solo artist isn't Freestyle, his most quotable song, and probably his most quotable song, at least solo-wise. It's The Bigger Picture. A song that came out of the frustration and trying to express an understanding for both sides of things, which, contrary to popular belief, I do think is necessary at times, especially for 2020. People really started to clash, and I don't think the country has recovered necessarily from how political things got in 2020. Like, that really was a time where the political party you supported somehow became your sports team, and people are like ride or die now for their political party. But anyways, The Bigger Picture, one of the more iconic songs of that year, came from that, from understanding both sides and trying to explain to the other side, here's why we're angry, here's why things are happening the way that they are happening. People wanted music that would speak the truth, and hip-hop listened. Even people like Public Enemy, who had been way past their heyday, it wasn't the late 80s anymore, came out in 2020 and they made waves with a remix for Fight the Power. It featured legends in the game like Nas and Black Thought, but it also featured newer rappers like Rhapsody and YG.
History class ain't tell us about Juneteenth.
I told you that he was important, by the way. Like, YG was there in 2016 saying fuck Donald Trump, and by 2020 he was saying fight the power to end Donald Trump's first term as president. And as Trump picks up his second term as president, of course we can hope for the best, but it's not looking like it's gonna be the best. So yeah, get ready for political hip-hop to rise again. And if my time as a hip-hop fan has taught me anything, I understand that hip-hop will not stay silent and it will remain true to what it believes. And with that being said, yeah, Anyways, that might have been the most political video I've done in a minute, if not ever. And I'll just leave it at that. You know, I kind of feel like I spoke my mind. I kind of been away for a little bit. My bad, filmmaking. But yeah, shout out to y'all for sticking around. Shout out to God, and shout out to me for finally making a video, and shout out to Jay Dilla because he's always dope.
Hey, salute King Benny, man. That was a dope video. I feel like, you know, Trump's administration around that time, it was crazy with the way things was, but we kind of benefited in America from his administration during that time because the prices of things was lower. If you bought a home and the interest rates was lower, it was certain ways that you could have benefited. But the COVID-19 situation was very dangerous. It was very strenuous on the people. But in America, I think, and I feel like, and I've witnessed that Americans thrive best under adversity when things are hard. And I like your video, man. It was a dope discussion. And I think hip hop was impacted by his presidency. I think hip hop is still impacted by Joe Biden's presidency also. You know, we could talk about all of the presidents because Barack Obama, we had great records and hip hop was being very creative, but people got comfortable under Obama's administration. Under every administration, I could think of certain things and certain elements and stuff that happened during the presidency that was prolific to the culture, that switched and changed the culture. But you did a good job by talking about the Little Baby record and keeping it away from the conversation at the beginning of the video because that Little Baby record, it was one of the only ones that was based upon the southeastern region of the country. You know, that's where I'm located at as my main focus, the southeastern region. And that was a very impactful record. And I really appreciate your video, Benny. Dope discussion. We'll chop it up, man. One day we need to link up and collaborate also. You do a great job at your creation, your content creation. And, you know, I'll be tapped in, I'll be tuned in, and I'll be supporting. If y'all like what King Benny did, man, it's a link in the description for you to go subscribe to his channel. I appreciate y'all, man, for tuning in to my channel. Peace, love, plenty of abundance. Make sure you go get you some money, and I'm gone. Chill.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.